days are, and the word yom is, as I understand it, is basically it refers to a day, but the word days plural is ayom, or sorry, ayam. Am I saying that right? So it's a plural. So
ayam.
Yeah. So that's the word days. So that's a plural days. Now, okay. So
the reason I asked that is, we are told there are different time periods and how different things are.
Okay, so I sort of talk to a lot of young earth creationists, and they believe that God made the world in 6 million days, about 6,000 years ago. Okay, so and neither do I.
We still don't hold that position. We're not young earth creationists.
No, but you still hold the position that Allah made the world in 6 little days. Well, not little days. It says in 6 days. And that word ayam I also find in Surah chapter 2, where it says the person that hasn't got money to make an offering, they've got to fast for 3 days on the Hajj, and then there's another 7-day period. So those are literal days. That's the word 24-hour day then, right? But you're saying it's not 24-hour day.
What I'm saying is there are some places where the day is specifically mentioned in the context of the 24-hour day is and there are other contexts in which the term yom or ayam is used that is not clarified as to what specific time. So that would be translated as time period. Now the word yom or ayam can carry both of those meanings. The context tells us which. So if it's talking to a human being and says you've got to fast for, it doesn't mean 50,000 years, it just means you've got to fast for a day. But when it's talking about the day of judgment being 50,000 years, in the Hadith or the Quran, wherever that is, we understand that day is not a 24-hour day. So the word itself has the ability to be used in both ways. Both of those meanings apply. So the question for me is, what would be the importance of that?
Okay, so look, so from the Muslim understanding and perspective, that the Quran has been around forever. And the Quran is factually correct in all this.
You're busy, yeah?
We're having a chat.
The Quran is factually correct in all this day.
Yeah. So that's the Muslim understanding. So me as a Christian, I don't see the Bible that way. Okay? Some Christians do. They see the Bible as an error. But I objectively critique the Bible, as I know you guys objectively critique the Bible. But then I sort of don't think you guys objectively critique the Quran or your Prophet. So, and I have yet to meet a Muslim that I would sort of say can objectively critique the Quran and the Prophet. So again, when I go to young earth creationists, fundamentalist Christians, I sort of point out to the fact that there's a whole lot of evidence that the universe and the world have been a lot longer. So therefore, the 6-day creation is just it's a story, it's an allegory, it's an analogy, it's an ancient historical story, basically that forms part of the Bible. And the Quran has also picked up that same story and said God made the world, or Allah made everything in 6 days.
So, because there's different aspects of this. So, what is the necessity for everything to be 24-hour period or yom? And we've clarified that.
Well, you sort of have, but
Just excuse me, I'm going to just go and pray. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Asa. Where's the Musalla? Yeah, I'm going to pray quickly. Yeah, I'll just pray here and get the stool. Just get the stool there for me.
How can a human did him as a friend? Because he loved Abraham loved God. He gave his own son to him. He's willing to your mind. That's the point. Say there's only a few people that
Just go on there. One more.
Be about some sort of explanation about the natural universe, and then we can have those discussions. But I don't see the relevancy of the question. I mean, and the other aspect of this that for Muslims, the Bible we don't believe was copied from the Quran. We don't believe that. So, would there be overlaps in information or similar information found in both of those texts? So if you assume that the source is the same, so I'm not saying that the Bible is the thing that was given to Jesus be upon him. But if you assume this is revelation from the Creator, then just like if you go to the old professor to learn soil science, and they're teaching different generations of people, the old generation and the one that follows, the fact that they got the same information is because it's from the same source. You wouldn't say that the first student copied from the second student.
No, but sort of the way science is progressive. So sort of what I learned 48 years ago at university, showing my age, is different to what the science said. Well, it's generally the same, but it's improved. So sort of science is a basic an improving pool of knowledge.
So do you know, have you heard about the paradigm shifts that are required for science to change
Yeah. So I've read sort of Thomas Kuhn's So Thomas Kuhn's the scientific cycle of scientific resolution, or the cycle of scientific.
So there's a dogma. Well, not dogma is probably the right word, but there's a consensus that is established about a particular concept.
Yep.
And there has to be a significant amount of evidence and changing thinking before the dogma is overturned, even if there's evidence to the contrary.
Have you read Kuhn's book?
Yeah, I think a long time ago. But I read it.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. He says for us to change our scientific models, we have to change the way we think. And that process is a sociological consensus amongst the scientists before we come to that conclusion. It's change in the paradigm.
Well, basically the way that I remembered, and I actually write on a book, so I wrote a book called In Search of an Elusive God back in 2019, so which is kind of based on the apologetics I used to speak here 35 years ago. And I've got a whole chapter devoted to paradigm shifts and to kind of sort of Kuhn's thing. So basically he sort of says that science has a particular way of looking at things, and then there's what he calls an anomaly.
Yeah.
So that anomaly doesn't fit in the paradigm. So you go through this, what he calls a crisis point. Science goes through this crisis because it's found this anomaly that's there doesn't fit in. So it's got to move the paradigm so that it embraces the new anomaly. And
before that movement of the paradigm, there has to be a build-up of a critical mass of people who agree to deviate from the paradigm. And that's the sociological aspect.
Yes, there is a
scientists
sociological.
are willing to accept the anomaly needs explanation. This is when the paradigm shift will happen.
Yeah.
We've got to find another way to explain this data point.
Yeah, but and you're right. So it is sociology. So there might be only one or two, but those one or two kind of the other guys objectively look at it and they say, yeah, well, actually, so this is true. But there will be some diehards that still hold to the old position, and they sort of stick to that position. So
what, I know science is very important for you, from obviously the way you're discussing.
Well, it's my business. Yeah, probably like medicine is to you.
Absolutely. So in terms of reconciling things that appear to be not in conformity with science as we understand today, and your faith, or even say if you're going to ask me my position, how do you go about reconciling this? What holds? What trumps the other?
Okay, so for me personally, I would say generally, I'm not saying all the time, but generally, if there was a conflict between, say, the Bible and science, I would generally go with science and dismiss the Bible. Okay, whereas you get a lot of other Christians, they would say the Bible is the absolute truth, and therefore, if anything that contradicts that absolute truth, they would kind of sort of say that they'll go with the Bible, and they say the Bible trumps science, but that's not to me. So, and I haven't met a Muslim who is kind of different to fundamentalist Christians, who also kind of takes that sort of thing. But
do you understand the reason why?
I kind of do, because there's it's kind of in science there is a thing we call confirmation bias, and
there's something hanging from your beard.
Do you want to change it? Oh, okay, bit of fluff. Yeah. So there's a thing called confirmation bias in science, where basically what you do is you'll sort of cherry pick something that kind of suits the narrative that you believe in, and any evidence that is contrary to that. But that's not how science works. So sort of science basically develops through Karl Popper. You've got falsification. So falsification, or peer review if you like, is extremely important. So those peers have got to go through that process, and they actually attack the hypothesis and challenge it to make sure it's true. And that's why peer-reviewed science is extremely critical. So you've got to have people that are prepared to critique what is being said.
So there's many aspects to this one, but so if you're willing to hold science as the ruler that you're going to measure, because you believe the Bible is revelation. I'm assuming that.
So not every part of it. Now, I think you might remember, and you actually were surprised by my baby in bathwater analogy.
Yes.
So you sort of said you've never heard any other Christians held that position. So I'll just repeat it for the benefit of the watchers. So my position is that the Bible is a combination of baby and bathwater. So the things in that have no value at all to me whatsoever. They're not part of my Christian walk, but not part of my life. So I would say sort of 99%, to repeat what I've said on the live streams, is baby.